Hey everybody, John here, coming on with the next edition of our weekly business micro trainings, going over bookings this month. Last week we talked about really where your focus should be, focusing on bookings, not sales. When you focus on bookings and recruiting, the sales will just follow, because why people purchase is the same reason why they book and for the most part become. Tonight we are going to talk about one reminder, and then just overall asking what that looks like. Just like we talked about when recruiting, is that the answer to the unasked question is always no. Really, it's the same thing here. But we're going to really dig into the details of what does this mean asking, and dive into where you can find the most, where it's most effective to ask. But first, I'm going to start with one reminder. The reality with bookings is that someone is going to book you and your party. That's the reality with it. So when you put out a party, somebody is going to want to do what you just did. They're going to want to be a part of what you just did again, which means that you have to make it fun and enjoyable, because if you don't make it fun and enjoyable, no one's going to want to do it again. They're going to, one's going to be enough, and then they won't want to do it again. It's a big reason why when Better Way started as a direct sales company, there was this huge focus on sex trafficking and the statistics and how awful it is. And it really made the party unenjoyable, because you just talked about how bad it is. And hey, we have some products, but it's not something that was an enjoyable experience. And no one wanted to then book a party to go through it all over again. Really, that's just something to kind of keep in mind, is that when you're producing a party, you want it to be fun and enjoyable. And one of the keys to making sure it's fun and enjoyable is, one, making sure that you showcase your passion. If there are stories or products or reason why you became a freedom fighter, whatever it is, showcase that passion, because the more passionate you are, the more enjoyable it's going to be for others to listen. But also make sure that you enjoy the party. Make sure you have a lot of fun. Make sure that you're producing something that you enjoy and that you want to continue to do. And then the third piece of it, when you're on a live presentation, don't forget to smile. Always, always, always smile, and it's going to naturally feel more enjoyable. Live presentation, in home, doesn't matter. All right. So jumping into the asking. Number one, you can ask directly to those who are in the party if they'd like to book, if they would like to book. So online, this is actually a lot more difficult because you don't have a relationship with them. So going out and Messenger, they may never even see the message. So asking them that. So really, it's going to have to be done in conversation. So one, they have to somehow create a connection to that. One thing Jess does is in our on our door prize survey, they get an extra entry if they text Jess and say hello, because that really starts that conversation, allows Jess to kind of start a conversation there. The other one is asking anyone who orders. If somebody orders, you have their telephone number, you should be sending them a thank you within 24 to 48 hours. Thanking them for their purchase. Start a conversation, and as the conversation gets going, you can then ask if they'd be interested in booking a party, depending on where the conversation goes. But that's a place where you can ask. But here, especially online, but really online or at home, your goal should be to get your hosts to ask. So go out, talk to your host, and say, hey, I need you to get me a booking. 1 to 2 bookings. So you're asking them to book. One of the bigger reasons you're asking your host to find a booking for you is because your host has a relationship with their people. So it will be more meaningful and more impactful if your host is the one asking versus just this random person, especially if you're online. When you're in person, where you can see that person, you're already building that relationship, building that trust through that presentation. So you have that you have like kind of a leg up when you go to ask. But online, it's a little bit more, you don't have that as much. So just kind of keep that in mind, because it'll mean more coming from them. So tell them that they need to ask. A couple things when you're telling them that they need to ask is, one, tell them about, make sure that you're talking about the host rewards that they're going to get. So the 75% off items and the double free credit if they get 2 bookings. But also make sure they know the host reward, so then when they go out to their friends, their friends then like know like, oh, my wish list is getting really long. I like those host rewards. I'm going to book a party. The other piece of it is it would be very beneficial to you to let know be more effective. It comes from you. We talk about that. Incentivize your host to get a booking before the live presentation or the actual party if it's an in-home. This is one of the most effective ways to get good bookings is having your host come to it, because if they come with one, they're going to be really motivated to get that second one every time. So just kind of keep those two in mind when it comes to asking. That's really, again, what you're looking for. So overview, one, when you're asking direct, look to create a conversation and do that. If you're at an in-home party for asking direct, you should be asking at checkout, hey, would you be interested in learning more about the income opportunity? No, I absolutely understand. Would you be interested in booking a party and furthering your impact? Right? Go through that cadence of questions, becoming, booking, and then at the end you say, oh, hey, we have a buy three, get three special. You only have 3 items, you get 3 half off kind of a thing. So things like that cadence. And then make sure to get your host to be doing that asking, doing that legwork, because that will help a lot. If anything, that will start that conversation. That will start those individuals thinking, maybe I do want to book. And then when you go to your live presentation and you ask 6 times, because you should be asking a ton of times in your live presentation about booking a party, because people are thinking about it as they're going. They may not be willing to say yes first or second time. So just kind of keep that in mind. There's that. So coming up next week, we're going to talk about how to ask. Really, this is about the mindset that you have when asking. So we'll again talk about that focus, but then it's also going to be kind of some of the verbiage that you can use and the impact of particular words or ways of asking things. So just kind of keep that in mind. And then the last week, we're going to talk about host coaching, because it is one of the most effective ways to create a successful party that's fun and enjoyable and that gets you bookings. So you all have a great night, and I'll talk to you on Monday.